Hi Gemini, I hope that you're all doing well. We are here with a timeless reading. Welcome. The first card that we have out is Eight of Cups and Ace of Swords. Okay. This is a wonderful energy to see, specifically because when we have Eight of Cups, there can be a tendency to know that something energetically is spent and that we're not really going to get anything anymore from it, or that it's like misaligned, but then continuing to do it anyway or go back to it anyway. Having this Ace of Swords feels like there is a breakthrough where you have realized like something really isn't cutting it anymore. Having that Eight of Cups there, this means that you are tuning into the internal signal. When my heart is telling me this is not where I'm supposed to be anymore, and actually paying attention, because you know it's something that you can ignore if you want to. This feels like, no, I'm seeing it so clearly. I'm seeing it so clearly. I don't have to question myself, or I'm not questioning myself. I'm trusting myself. I'm trusting my judgment. I'm trusting this feeling, and I know. So this feels very, very, very powerful. It can be a heartbreaking truth. Simultaneously, you can know that this is what it is. And now you can know too, like, why there can be resistance to it in the first place. If you are knowing something totally and fully, and you're really listening to yourself, and you're really tuning in here, and this is the reality, I feel like there's not a hiding from what it is. There could have been an avoidance before. There could have been a like, no, I don't want to look, or sort of like peeking through your fingers a little bit. This feels like a time when you were really aligned with a clear understanding of what's going on, that you are ready for the truth no matter what it may be, and that it's a time when you can see things clearly, even if it's difficult, even if it's painful. But you can know too that if this is something that you don't acknowledge, if this is something that you continue to ignore, you'd sort of be gypping yourself. And that can feel like it costs too much. You're going to go through the 5 stages here. It doesn't mean that you need to go backwards. I'm not seeing this indicate that you're going to go backwards. This feels more so like when you have recognized something and you know that thing to be true, you're going to go through all the stages of processing that. All the coming to terms with everything other than what it actually is. I wanted it to be like this. Why didn't that happen? How come things didn't come together in that way? I expected it to happen like this. All of that stuff. Could it have been different? Why did it have to be like this? Is this really how it has to be? Wow. So you're like ripping the blindfold off completely. I'm seeing it be like non-existent now at this point. I feel too like this is something that you have been working on slowly, getting to this point of realization here. Here is when it feels crystal clear that whatever you were trying to figure out, even though like you knew all along but maybe didn't know that you knew all along, now is that point in time where you see everything, and there's no more going back from this point anymore. And it can also be a time too where there's You can see your wounding clearly. You can see your pain clearly. You can see your trauma clearly. Five of Cups is going to be the coming to terms with all of that. Coming to terms with, like, it didn't happen differently. It did happen like this. This is what's going on. Five of Cups is going to be that sort of assimilating to the reality of this situation for you. And as that acceptance washes over, there is that ultimate liberation where all of the resistance, all of the avoidance, all of the anything that gets in the way of you seeing the truth, it is pulled off of you, like a veil being pulled off of you, and you see what you have in front of you. I also get this as being a time where you're ready for the truth now, and that's why it's time. Like, you may have been like, I don't want to be covered up by this anymore. I don't want to be living a lie. I don't want to be living in confusion. I really just want to see things. And in this moment, you do. All of the big emotional stuff, you could have felt like it was not allowing you to see clearly. Not because emotions don't allow you to see clearly, but more so the avoidance of pain, the avoidance of suffering, the avoidance of detaching from the attachments that we have to anything other than the truth and anything other than the reality. That being said, you can feel like all of this being acknowledged, you can feel like there's still a decision that needs to be made, like a choice that's attached to this. Even though you're seeing all of this stuff, you can feel at the same time like you're a little bit, Having Five of Cups there feels like the parts of you that are still resistant to accepting all of this totally and completely may still a little bit be feeling like there's still some type of choice when it feels like there's just one path, that one path is clear. But the part of you that can be having a hard time still coming to terms with this can be the part of you that is still thinking that something is an option when it's not. Yeah, this does feel like a splitting. This feels like a breaking apart that's happening. But as it feels like there's more so a disjoining, it feels like you are coming back together with yourself here. Which can mean that this is about you making a choice where you feel like this is, what's the opposite of abandonment? Whatever the opposite of abandonment is, like, that's what you're doing with yourself here. That's what I'm seeing be going on. But it can be simultaneously, this can be a difficult thing. Because I think, too, that in doing this, you see, like, where you had been abandoning yourself before, where you had been separated from yourself before, like, all of those times that had been happening. When there's this coming back together with self, you see, like, the distance that was created with you and yourself as you're trekking along to get closer and closer, like, back together with yourself. So you see, like, all of the times when there was that, like, abandoning or, like, leaving yourself behind, like, all of these things come to the front then. And this can be a painful experience to have. Because you can also see too the times that like other people have left you as well, or maybe in order to not be left, or in order to not lose something, how you've abandoned yourself. So there can be a lot of this that's going on here, like a lot of things coming to the forefront, a lot of realizations, and it can be difficult to look at. It can be difficult to look at. But now you're seeing it. And maybe even saying it out loud, that can be part of this too. Trying to find the way. So you're moving from self-abandonment to the opposite of what self-abandonment is. Things are becoming more clear. It looks to like things that you have been up to and things that you have been doing that you feel like are no longer your cup of tea, to put it lightly, that there is a transition, that there is an acknowledgement of where you don't belong any longer. Wow. So this is going to be part of a major, major change for you within your life. Unexpected news. Part of the reason you may have been resistant to doing this is just because of the forecast of this. This is like another major transition that you're going to be going through, that this is another really big thing, that this is like another time that this is going to be happening. I do feel like one of the most, I don't know, maybe it's not so subtle now at this point. I feel like this is going to be a time where you look at what has been going on and you can see where you had like abandoned yourself, or where you had left yourself behind at different points, and how things had gotten this way, like how things had gotten here. And it feels like pulling back the layers to see what you weren't seeing before. But it can be why we can be resistant to seeing that, like, again, like doing things within situations to not be like abandoned by other people or other things. And this can be something that starts in childhood, but then realizing that we abandoned ourselves by doing that we did things where we crossed a line, or that we didn't honor our boundaries, or that it wasn't compatible with our values. These things that we do from a place of wounding, from a place of the unhealed heart space. And so you can be looking and seeing like what it looks like when things are together, because I'm seeing you with Ace of Swords and Two of Cups. You're having this moment of clarity of you're seeing what the Two of Cups really looks like. You're seeing what union with self really looks like. And in that moment, all the situations that were not that come into focus and come into perspective, and you see basically like everything that had happened. You see all the times where you weren't showing up for yourself, all the times where you did abandon yourself, like all of those times when more and more of a separation and like a breaking apart was happening, and then having to not only recognize that, but also accept those things that had happened. I could have kept myself intact here. Like I didn't have to leave myself back there. And it's like those moments of the pain that is experienced as we're going through that process of healing, which that's what is happening right now. And this transformation, this huge transformation that you're going through, I'm seeing Scorpio and I'm seeing Pluto here. These are like the most intense energies to be experiencing. These are the things that feel like it rips your soul out of your body, only for everything to like be tethered back together again. Or like you go through the flames the flames that end up purifying you, but it burns you to the core. And even though you come out new, like you're sort of edging up to the beginning part of that process. I do get the sense that, I don't know what this was that happened, but I'm seeing there be this coming into focus of what true union and harmony with self is, what it really looks like when you choose you. And this can even be in a split second, just having this epiphany about it. That's what the Two of Cups is. Now it's like, it's just like something clicked. And then you see like everything that you could have even been telling yourself, this is how I show up for myself, and you see how that wasn't, and how that came from a distorted perspective. And what I'm seeing be the main charge here, like the main thing that is most difficult right now, when we have Five of Cups and we have Nine of Wands, it can feel like the grieving, the mourning, all the stages that it takes until you get to that point of acceptance. That's the thing that is most difficult for you right now. That's the thing that's most draining for you right now. So that's really what you can feel like is taking the most out of you, and seeing all of the pain, seeing all of the wounding, seeing just all of it and looking at it, coming face to face with this, and recognizing that this was needed to be seen, this had needed to be seen. And I think too that as you're coming to terms with this, it feels like it becomes more and more obvious to you what is not aligned anymore, what your heart is no longer speaking to you about because it's not relevant for you anymore, and that there are different moves to be making. And so there can definitely be a starting to get to a point where you're coming to terms with what needs to be let go of, what is ready to be let go of, because it is not that Two of Cups anymore. It's not that union. It's not that internal nourishment that we experience when we are connected with something that we really are vibing with somewhere where we really belong, or someone that we really belong with. And this can be too looking at like, I stayed within this thing that my heart really wasn't in for this reason, or for that person, or for that expectation. And there can be some seeing of that too, where when you experience this moment with Ace of Swords and Two of Cups, you see the truth of what the Two of Cups actually is. And so you see all of the other times that you could have been telling yourself, like, this is for me, or this is for myself, or this is how things are supposed to be, or this is like me uniting with my heart space and with the spirit within. And then in this moment, you just see all of the times where you could have been labeling situations as that, but they weren't really. It was something else. And seeing what that something else was too, and how that distorted your perspective. And so this can feel like a crushing time. And simultaneously, it's a time of recalibration. Simultaneously, this is going to be like the phoenix rising. But you can feel like there's still like you're sort of creeping up to that dark side of the forest, and that you're going to be going into it, and you don't know where that's going to take you. And that can feel very intimidating. That can feel very scary, especially when you feel like you're going through major upheaval emotionally and psychologically right now. And now you're going to step up to the plate and go somewhere that you don't know where it's going to take you. Because I feel this, like, you're moving into the unknown. There's something that's being embraced, and there's going to be, this is a time of major catalyst within your life. And it feels like you're going to be entering into something where you don't know where it's going to take you. I'm getting this, like the Death card is feeling almost synonymous with the energy of the moon, which is stepping into the void, stepping into the unknown. I know that this isn't it, and so that's my only choice. But when you look at the gates of it, it's like dark on the other side. You don't know where that's going to take you, but you know that that's not it, so it has to be this. and that's basically what's sort of coming to fruition here, what's being realized. Because I even get the sense that something was built up, and it can feel like it was intertwined with some type of fiction, and now it has just burst into flame, and all you're left with is the truth. And all you can do is come face to face with it and embrace the unknown, and that's exactly what's happening here. If you're still trying to convince yourself that you're supposed to be somewhere, that you're not happy, that you're forcing yourself to be somewhere, that there's not fulfillment there, you're forcing yourself to be somewhere where your spirit is not happy to be, you're not going to see all of it until that point. Until there's a readiness. I want the truth more than anything. More than I want to be comfortable, more than I don't want things to change, I want the truth. You will see the truth. It is there, like, waiting for you to make eye contact with it, staring right back at you. I do also get a feeling of, you can also feel resistant to this because you can feel like, I just go through change after change, transformation after transformation, upheaval after upheaval, and so there can be a part of you that's having a really hard time with this because it can feel like you go through this all the time, and this is just another great one of those things that's happening. So just, I'm saying that just because I'm seeing it within the energy, and so to like validate what you're feeling right now, more so than anything, to say that I see that, like that is seen, it's present within the energy, it is recognized. You have been through so very much, and this is another thing. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I am sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.